First thing, we're hit on the business drivers. What's creating the need out there? What is it that's going to drive the opportunity for you to engage with the admin and some of the folks? First is, yes, it's obvious. SharePoint has become more mission critical and needs to be completely protected. Now, there's some interesting things about what does that mean to be completely protected. Okay, I can guarantee you that everybody that you talk to out there will be using a backup product of some type. If they have no backup at all, they're either wrong, they just don't know what they're doing, or you probably don't want to be there, because if they don't have a basic backup solution, they've got a lot of other things they're going to have to be dealing with. So this is, most obvious driver. Next thing is, very similar to StoragePoint, that content growth is creating a growing need around backup, because the backup times take longer and longer. And as that content grows, we remember that what happens to user performance? It goes down. Okay, it gets slower, gets more painful, and those users get more vocal about being dissatisfied. Okay. Long backups are inherently risky to the organization, and bring that up in conversations with the SharePoint admin. Most of them are not coming from an IT perspective and understanding to the full extent what data loss or potential data loss can mean. And two, from a business perspective, they're probably not used to building business cases around risk mitigation to the extent they're administering the environment. So helping them to understand that long backups create a lot of risk. And I'll give you one very quick soundbite around that. If you have a 10,000 person company and it takes you 8 hours to do backups, okay, how much potential is there for lost data? 10,000 times 8, 80,000 man hours if everybody was working on SharePoint full time. Let's say they only use SharePoint for half their day. Okay, it's 40,000 hours. That's a lot of potential data loss. Okay, that's why companies define what their risk tolerance is, and we're going to get into that. These may be new concepts for the admin, and the admin really needs to embrace them, because fundamentally this is going to be something that decides, are they a proactive admin who has longevity, or are they going to be out on the street looking for other things because they just don't get it. Next, restores get more and more complex, and as they get more complex, because the environment grows, you have more customizations, you have all of these different components that need to be brought to bear, and historically they're using PowerShell scripts and files from a whole bunch of places and differential. What happens is new risk comes up about, can they even recover? Okay. And I can guarantee you out there is you're going to see some startling statistics that most admins, one, they don't know if they can recover, and two, they're probably going to be wrong about what they believe on that recovery point, because frankly, very few of them can successfully recover. So these are the business drivers, and just to kind of frame it up, we did something similar with the storage point. As content grows, which is what's happening, 50 to 75% growth year over year, that creates longer backups. Longer backups create more risk of data loss. The only reason anybody fundamentally should be doing backups is as a hedge bet to protect themselves in case they have an outage. That's the only reason. Okay, backups just sitting out there don't do anything for you unless you have to use them. It's like insurance. Nobody likes to pay for insurance, but that's what it is. And fundamentally, if you have long backups, you cannot meet RPOs. RPOs are a very important concept in the backup space, and it's something that people who do general purpose backups understand quite well. But once again, the SharePoint admins, because of the different entry points that they get into their careers, may not understand it. So let's go ahead and go over it so you can present it to them, or at least understand the same thing that they may understand. So an RPO is basically an objective. It's a target or a goal. How much is the maximum amount of potential data loss that you are willing to risk? It's kind of like playing poker. If you sit down and you say, I'm not willing to risk more than $100, then don't put more than $100 out on the table. Okay? with recovery points, if you are only willing to risk 4 hours worth of data loss for your organization across all the people who are doing it, then you better make sure that your backup times at a minimum are faster than 4 hours, or you've got no shot at meeting that objective. There's another concept out there called recovery time objective, RTO. Now this is when you have an application like SharePoint and it goes down either planned or unplanned. Sometimes they take it down for maintenance, sometimes it crashes and gets corrupted. Okay. How long does it take to get back to a minimally viable state of operation? Okay. If it takes you 2 hours to come back online, that's a 2-hour RTO. If it takes you 2 days, that's a 2-day RTO. Actually, let me rephrase that. If you set a goal that you have to be faster than 2 days, that's what the RTO would be. But bottom line is, most organizations don't want to be out of pocket for that long. So this is another one of the key concepts of how they measure their service level commitment to the organization around that application called SharePoint. As it gets more and more mission critical, RPOs and RTOs should continue to shrink. Now, this is in complete opposite of content grows, creating longer windows, creating more risk. So you have content growth on one side, and as it gets more mission critical, you have the need to make it shorter and shorter. That's a compounding effect. So when we talk about the opportunity to sell them backup, and in this case, always be going for that bundle because it's a great opportunity, storage and backup, to do something differently than they're currently doing today, and to, in a discontinuous fashion, say, you know what, I'm going to go from 8 hours to 15 minutes. That's a big difference. Half an hour, whatever it takes, it's going to allow them to jump way under those RPOs for the first time. You know, once they pass through them, if they don't change the way they do business, they cannot meet those demanding objectives. So let's talk a little bit about SharePoint, or excuse me, SharePoint Backup, and our product, our entry into the marketplace. First of all, this is a very exciting release because SharePoint Backup and StoragePoint have combined to create something that is truly lightning fast. Compared to what they're used to in most cases, the time difference that they're going to see between using our product and using a lot of other products is startling. Okay? And it's total SharePoint backup. Okay? We hit on this in the StoragePoint side. You're protecting the metadata, the Hive, you're protecting customizations, workflows, you're protecting the SQL database content. Okay? But you're also, if you've externalized content, you're now protecting for the first time in a single backup that externalized content. So that's huge. Okay? You now have total SharePoint backup. It's lightning fast, and you can do very granular restores from that. So a couple of things. We talk about going from hours to minutes. That's a big difference in the backup world. Okay? So if you ask that qualifying question and you say, how long did it take for your last backup? Okay. They need to have an answer for that. If they don't have an answer for it, then you have some more education work to do to help get that person primed to understand the pain, the risk that they're about to incur. But once they have that number, usually it's pretty easy to say, we can cut that down quite a bit for you.